Pro tip for any aspiring football manager player, if you're going to sign someone like Kobbie Mainoo, maybe make sure the player you're signing him to replace actually leaves the club. Yeah, I'm in a pickle. Yes, folks, how is it going? A warm welcome back. It's episode number 68 here with Wanderers FC. We are in the Premier League, of course. It is the January transfer window. As I mentioned, I might have made a mistake. I will say, in isolation, the decision to sign Kobbie Mainoo, probably a pretty good one. He is very, very good in Football Manager, and whilst I feel like he probably will be upgraded in FM25, more than a usable player, the fact that he can play at defensive mid, as well as centre mid, centre attacking mid, to be fair, there's part of me wondering if I should just trade him at right wing back for the meme. He's just a really good, solid player. The fee that we paid, £17.5 million, I think represents a good value for money signing. Of course, at defensive mid, we have options. To be fair, it's not like we're overburdened with players in this position, but the reason I was looking at Kobbie Mainoo was because Gavin Gallagher wasn't very happy with his current squad status and was wanting to leave. And as much as I love Gavin Gallagher, we signed him for £8 million. There is interest from a few Saudi teams, and he has a valuation of 15 million. So I thought, yeah, we'll get some money for him. All the Saudi teams vanished. Now only a Qatari team's interested, and no one wants to make a bid, and he's unhappy. So you know what? In retrospect, I've played an absolute blinder. So yeah, this isn't exactly the ideal scenario. That said, we have made a fairly big sale this window, and that is Philip Rolk, who's left the club for £21 million. I feel like this is a pretty good bid for him. The 26-year-old had only actually featured in 4 games all year for us, 1 in the Premier League. So I can't even say we were using him as much of a squad option. He's headed to Qatar, £21 million received. Like I said, he's not really featured for us to the point where I'm not going to look to sign a new centre-back, at least right now. Instead, I've just kind of stashed that 20 million. And if anything, it is just going to open up a chance for James Wiles to play in the first team that little bit more. This 22-year-old is not a bad little centre-back. He's probably not ready to be a regular starter in the Champions League by any metric, but at 22, still a little bit of potential, super consistent. I feel like I want to give him a chance to prove himself in the team. He is definitely a downgrade from Rolk, but it obviously didn't cost us anything to promote. Have just noticed. He's on the loan list. Let's get him unavailable for loan. He's not going anywhere. James, you are now going to be a Wanderers player. We've currently got him on the trampoline to help with his jumping reach. He's not the tallest centre-back. In some other news, Harry Evans has announced his desire to leave the club. He is leaving to go and join Ross County in the summer on a free transfer. I did need to find a new goalkeeper. I found a goalkeeper, and perhaps it's a rather familiar face. Jeremy Lacheviere. Yeah, the 23-year-old came through our academy a few years ago. We loaned him to Sochaux. In fact, no, we didn't loan him. We sold him to Sochaux. He's played some regular football for them and actually really developed into a solid little goalkeeper. As a homegrown at-club goalkeeper who can be the third choice, I feel like he's not the worst option in the world by any means. Head-to-head, you can see here against Evans. I think Evans probably does have the edge, but obviously Jeremy here is homegrown at club. I have decided to loan him back to Sochaux, so as much as I've signed him to be the replacement for Evans, he will join us at the end of the year. I think he's actually going to spend another year at Sochaux. My short-term plan for next season is just a loan in a goalkeeper. Anyway, now that we've talked about what I'd consider positive news, let's talk about the not-so-good stuff, our form of late. I'm going to be honest, this season is slipping away from us, and I guess that was kind of indicated by this result here against West Ham, a 1-1 draw. Bernard Brennan with a late, equaliser. He got man of the match for the equaliser. He's actually put in some really good performances on off the bench to the point where I'm now considering using him more as a starter. The reason for that, at least at the moment, Rashid Mohammed is at AFCON. Yeah, there's going to be a weird thing you note here where the form takes a downturn in January, almost perfectly coincides with when Rashid Mohammed went to represent Morocco in the African Cup of Nations. Bit annoyed that I didn't see this coming. In some good news, though, we did manage to beat Arsenal 4-0 in the EFL Cup. They played a very, very rotated team in this game. We took advantage of that. And yeah, it was a pretty emphatic result. Rashid Mohammed played really well. Sheldon actually got man of the match with a 10.0 with 2 assists. Marcus coming up in a big game, which for a man who hates important matches is a little surprising. After that, we managed to beat Fulham 3-0. Maybe looks a little easier than it was. A couple of those goals came late in extra time. Then Manchester United won, Wanderers 0. Their goalkeeper got man of the match, and it was Alex Scott with a moment of quality, a rare moment of quality in this game. A cute angle, cut inside, tucked it away. we had no response. Now, initially, I thought we'd done well to bounce back because we managed to beat Leeds and Brentford 4-2 and 3-0 respectively. Ashley Phillips, by the way, popped up with 3 goals across 2 games at centre-back. They're the only 3 goals he scored all year, mind you. But this month hasn't quite gone to plan. We lost against Chelsea 3-1. We were never really in the game. They were the better team. We managed to get through the FA Cup against Fulham with a rotated team. I rotated the team because of this match, the EFL Cup semi-final first leg. We conceded after 2 minutes and there was no response. Today's first game is going to be the second leg of this competition. We got drawn against Liverpool. We played them last episode, so I didn't really want to do both legs against them. The good news for me is the game is still finely balanced. The bad news, we have to come back from behind against Anfield if we want to make it to the EFL Cup final, which is less than ideal. And what is less than ideal as well was this result here against Brighton, a 4-1 defeat. We were embarrassed. To be fair, they took their chances. We simply put didn't take ours. I rotated the team for this game because of the EFL Cup semi-final second leg. I want to put a priority on that. To be honest, in the results kind of heading up to this Brighton game where we were slipping up, it was becoming increasingly apparent we're very unlikely to win the league this year. So I decided to rotate the team against Brighton to go full strength for this first game today in the second leg where we start a goal down. In terms of league table position, we're in 5th, which isn't disastrous. Bad news, though, we're 4 points off the Champions League spots in at least the top 4, although, as we've now established, 5th place probably is good enough for that. Sadly, however, there are teams behind us with a game in hand, which if they win, they'll go ahead of us, at least in the case of Liverpool. I suppose if there's to be a silver lining, we are in the FA Cup against Birmingham in the next round, and in the Champions League, of course, we've already made it through as probably a top 8 team, barring a crazy swinging goal difference. So, whilst the league might be getting away from us a little, is going to allow us to pivot focus, I think, more onto cup competitions. Saying all of that, the games we're doing today are the second leg against Liverpool away and then the small matter of Arsenal at home. If we lose this game against Arsenal at home, we're basically waving goodbye to the title and the rest of the season will all be about, well, hopefully an EFL Cup final if we can get there. Beyond that, full focus on the Champions League and FA Cup. Anyway, like I've already mentioned, first game today is against Liverpool. We are going to this game a goal down at Anfield. This is going to be a pretty blooming difficult game, if I might say so myself. Rashid Mohammed, as I've already mentioned, is out. Elsewhere, Nicky Meredith has been in an awful run of form that has seen Bernard Brennan come in to be the regular starter at pressing forward on the right-hand side. Of course, Rashid Mohammed not back yet from AFCON. Elsewhere, Carl Flood has been battling injury. Another thing that perhaps coincides with our recent struggle in form is losing our midfield general. And elsewhere in the team, Gavin Wallace came down sick, ironically. I swear I didn't infect him myself. He is out, you can see here, for another 4 days. So sadly, unavailable for this one. Might not be available for the Arsenal game either. Although what the injury to Flood does mean is that Kobbie Mainoo is going to come in and make his debut. Gavin Gallagher is the player who would perhaps ordinarily come in this spot. But given the fact we're looking to move him on, and Mainoo is just a little bit more complete when it comes to the physicals and going forward, he's the man we're going to turn to today. Looking at Liverpool's team here, they're actually going with a 4-2-4 for today's game. Normally they play that narrow system. Today they are going with a wider shape. Of course, when we played them last episode, it was a classic 0-0. We have to score goals today. We have to go on the attack today. And well, we're going to need to score at least 2 today, because Dominic Szoboszlai has scored inside 2 minutes. I did suspect it was going to be a tall order going to Anfield and trying to dispatch of this Liverpool team from a goal down. This here makes it a little tougher. Yeah, that is an annoyingly good goal. Now, like I mentioned, Liverpool, obviously, they normally play that narrow shape with 2 centre attacking mids. They've actually gone for 2 wider players today. So with that in mind, I'm going to look to exploit, the middle of the pitch, essentially. We're going to look to try and overwhelm their 2-man midfield of Taylor and, Bajcetic in the centre and hope that we can just make something happen there. Obviously, Liverpool have scored from their first shot, which is less than ideal. They now have a set piece. Have I come back for this game just to be embarrassed? Bernard Brennan has forgotten how to jump and header away the ball there. Ritson, who I rejected the option to sign, you might remember, a few transfer windows ago, is now bringing it forward and whipping it in. Darwin's under it. And it's 2. I mean, they've got a semi-rotated team here and they're still embarrassing me. Remember Ritson? English centre-back. Everyone told me he'd be a rubbish wing-back and a rubbish centre-back. Why would you sign him? He's just got an assist there. So he's a semi-competent footballer, annoyingly for me. Safe to say that Mainoo not having a debut to remember right now. Obviously, we've struggled massively this month. It's just been a bad month for football all in all, and it could go from bad to worse. What is going on in the penalty area? We clear it away, and I'm not enjoying this. Right, Lloyd Weston, Benito, deliver, my friend. Ball in, Dorrington, header hits the crossbar and goes over. 5 minutes left of this first half. We've not had a shot. We've literally done nothing. This is Well, I was going to say it's problematic. That's perhaps the understatement of a century. Can it change here? Hatswell forward. Brennan. Can he take it down? Good little touch in the box on his chest. Gives it to Hatswell. Sheldon shoots. Blocked. Falls to Andy White. We hit the crossbar for a second time in this game. We've not done a great deal in this half, but I'll tell you what. We've been a couple of inches away from scoring 2. And that shot there wasn't far over either. At least we're ending the half strongly. 3 minutes left of this first half in extra time. Nothing comes of it. We're 3 goals down here. We had a flurry of chances at the end of the half, but it almost felt like too little, too late. I feel like for this game, I actually need someone in at centre attack in mid. I'm going to bring in Joe McHugh and take off Brennan. I'm going to go to Andy White and Sheldon up front. This is ordinarily our more cautious system. I'm going to hope by having a centre attack in mid, that can just help us win that midfield battle with their 2-man midfield. I mean, in terms of the rest of the plan here, not looking to distribute it to the centre back. Still want to try and counter press when we can. I mean, Ajaria is dropping an absolute stinker on a 6.3. You know what? Niall Townsend, he is a player with a bit of creativity in him. I feel like I need that now. If we somehow come back in this game, it'll be the greatest comeback in Wanderers history. I think that would be, well, impossible to deny. Being realistic, based on what we've seen so far in this game, wouldn't entirely surprise me if Liverpool go and score another. A Szoboszlai shot ripples the top of the net. That was not fun to watch. Right, Andy White over the corner, on his right foot, whips in. Dorrington's under it. There was another man under it. It's half cleared away, but Niall Townsend, the sub, is going to look to keep it alive. Brought him on for his creativity. His passing range is, well, amazing. And he very nearly delivered immediately. Andy White heads wide, but it's a chance. And now we're straight into another one. We need highlights in this game. We've got to go on the attack a little bit more. Try and create more in this game. Hopefully the centre attack in mid is going to enable that. Although Mara, who always scores against me, nearly scored. And Ansa makes a stupendous save. I did worry that after the previous leg against Liverpool, where it finished 0-0, and after last episode in the league against Liverpool, when it finished 0-0, this might be another quieter game. Yeah, there's only been 2 goals. There's been a lot of chances in this game each way. I think I just noticed they've gone to their narrow 2-man kind of attacking midfield setup, which does leave me a little bit worried because I'm still set to try and exploit them through the middle, which is perhaps going to be a tougher ask, but well, maybe we can make something happen here. Look how many men they've got in the middle all of a sudden. Lloyd Weston, good little tackle. Sadly, the ball doesn't break his way. And now, Liverpool have got players queued up in the middle. There's 3 men to aim for. Mara is one of them. He scored. He's offside. I don't even know how he got the ball into the back of the net from there. He always scores against me. The linesman's bailed us out. VAR check, please just save me some embarrassment. 3-0 would be a bit much. Right, we're going to look to focus the play into the wider areas now. I'm not going to look for the underlap or overlap, I don't think. Instead, to get a similar effect, I'm just going to set Hatswell to be a Segundo Volante on attack. I really probably should be making more changes in this game. Andy White has not looked at his best. You know what? Nicky Meredith, come on down. I mean, I have more subs if I want to make them. Normally, I'd bring in Wallace here, but of course, he's injured. Benito's had an uncharacteristically quiet game. I need him to step it up in this next half an hour. I mean, we're 3 goals down on aggregate. We've not done enough in this game. I feel like 2-0 maybe flatters Liverpool just a little bit in this game, but I can't really argue with the fact we've not done enough to win this game. Yet again, Liverpool just showing a really good defensive display against us. And unlike last time where we could match them for defensive ability, this game, we've just not looked at the races. The ball's whipped in here. We leap for a header that we missed. Kobbie Mainoo clears it away as far as Ritson. He's already got 1 assist. Watch him potentially get another. Please not, Football Manager. Vincente for them drops deep. Taylor back to Pavlovic at the back. Liverpool have played a rotated team here as well. This is really an indicator of just how much we've struggled this month. Rashid Mohammed has been undoubtedly a huge miss for us. And while Liverpool look competent, we look absolutely lost all out at sea. They're bringing the ball down the left-hand side. Vincente shoots. Anson makes another world-class save. He's keeping us in this game. Okay, well, we might as well go to very attacking now. 3 goals in 4 minutes, I'm afraid to say, just isn't going to happen. This reminds me of a few performances we had last year where we just seem incapable of scoring. The goals just all of a sudden seem to evaporate and vanish. Is it the missing link of Carl Flood? Is Flood that essential to our team at Regista that we're missing him here? Hatswell caught in possession. It's going from bad to worse. Mara shoots. Mara scores. It's 3-0. It's going to count. I don't want to see the replay. Get me out of this game. Please get me out of this game. Thank you, Editing Jack, for getting me out the game. Yeah, I was not happy with what I've seen there, unsurprisingly. 3-0 to Liverpool, 4-0 on aggregate. I talked about focusing on cup runs. Oh, that's one less cup we can focus on. I mean, I'll be honest, if we lose to Arsenal in this next game, we are approaching the point where it's going to be FA Cup and Champions League or bust for us this year. which really isn't a situation I ever wanted to find ourselves in. Anyway, our next game is at home against Arsenal. This is going to be a tough game. Past meeting-wise, it has been a little bit hit and miss, and by hit and miss, I mean miss, hit. Probably to that ratio. They've beaten us so many times over the years. If there's a time to beat them against all odds, it would be now to stop this rot. I don't want to make it 5 defeats in 6. But this is going to be tough. I'll join you in a moment. I don't mean to be rude here, but if Morocco could really hurry up and get knocked out of the African Cup of Nations, that would help me quite a lot. Rashid Mohammed not being here has really screwed us. He was our top goal scorer before he went away. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I really miss him. He was a surprisingly important piece of the puzzle. And without him, everything's just gone wrong. I mean, look at that. The goal scoring has just vanished. Which is why this next game here against Arsenal does fill me with a little bit of dread. They're top of the table. Like I said, lose this game here, the hope of getting anywhere near the top of the table vanishes for the year. Top 4 perhaps wouldn't be out the question, but it is going to leave us with a mammoth task. Unfortunately, Carl Flood still not fit for today's game. Gavin Wallace still injured as well. I mean, Gavin Gallagher is unhappy and has not been playing well. Mainoo, let's be honest, he didn't exactly have a debut to remember, did he, in that last one? Maybe he can step it up in this next game. In terms of the team, I'm looking at it thinking maybe I should be changing more about it. But at the same time, I feel like there's a point where you almost have to just persist with what you know is your strongest 11. I'm going to bring in Townsend at right wing back because I don't think he played that badly in the previous game. In terms of the rest of the team, though, you know what? I'm not going to change anything. Is it stubbornness? Is it stupidity? Maybe it's a bit of both. I mean, to be fair, I've already rotated the team a fair amount lately, and it's just not worked no matter what configuration we've played. And I feel like it almost gets to a point where you feel like your best bet is just play your best 11 on paper, try and get them into a little bit of form, try and get some momentum going. Football Manager, you know, morale, momentum, it's a very big thing, as it is in real football. A game like this, winning here, could help us get that momentum. Okay, we're at home for this game. Let's look at that as a potential positive as Henderson has the ball and gives it to Sheldon dropping deep, who loses the ball to like a 50-year-old Martin Odegaard who's now bringing it forward. I'm not having a meltdown, you're having a meltdown. Why am I panicking? Shaquille Van Persie, Ferraz, edge of the box, shoots, hits the post, and, well, we've got away with one there. I've just remembered as well, we hit the post twice in that Liverpool game, didn't we? You know what? I shouldn't think about it. Oh, my word. Brennan's on the floor injured. Is he okay? He's got a broken heart. Is he okay? I think he's going to be able to shake off the knock. It's going to be fine. I mean, to be honest, even a draw in this game just to stop the rot would perhaps be good. I was about to encourage the players because we were drawing. If we score from a corner, I'll praise them and get the green happy smiley faces. The ball's whipped in. Andy White... I don't know if that hit the crossbar or the keeper saved it. The keeper made a crazy dive, Jalzinho, who's their goalkeeper, to try and stop it. Henderson has the ball at the back, and that is just going to fizzle away into nothing, right? You know what? Encourage the players. Green, happy, smiley faces. Half an hour played here. They've not scored. I'm going to view that as a positive. Sheldon free kick, dinks it. Phillips, Brennan shoots, scores. Is he onside? He looked a little offside for my liking. I'm hoping I'm wrong here. VAR check is ongoing. It's not going to count. It's not going to count. I knew it. I could just feel it in my heart. Ball whipped in. Yeah, he's half a yard off there, isn't he? I can't even really argue with it. And with 40 minutes played, is that really going to be the main highlight of the game so far going in at half-time? It could have been, but... well, maybe there's to be a late twist here. Henderson with the ball for us is bringing it forward. There is options in the middle. Dorrington bringing the ball forward. Kobbie Mainoo dinks it. Brennan onside this time. Almost shoots it out for a throw-in. It was that far off target. 3 minutes of added time at the end of this first half. I mean, can we find something late? I feel like there's a bit of momentum building for us. We're having chance after chance, but we need to start converting stuff. Lloyd Weston dinks it. Andy White headers it. And it's just wide of the mark. I was thinking, surely half-time's going to come now. No, it's not. Frimpong on the right-hand side is bringing it forward. Jeremy loses out with the ball. Sheldon dropping deep to latch onto it. Gives it to Andy White. Brennan's lurking at the back post. There's a few runners in support here. Andy White needs some help. Whips it to Brennan, who headers it and scores a big, meaty man header. He's our best player in the air in terms of attacking options. I'd argue ahead of Meredith in that regard. And he's popped up at the back post with a beautiful little header. Quite how Andy White picked out this pass, I'm not even sure. Outside of the right foot, Travella cross. and headed back across goal like that. That is a ridiculous goal. Let's be honest, this would be the most Football Manager thing ever, wouldn't it? Now, if I now beat the team who are top after our recent run of games, just inexplicably, we played really well in that game. I feel like I'm inviting complacency, but how can I not praise the players a little bit for what we've done in this game? I'm looking at a few players on bookings here, actually. As much as I like Townsend's creativity, he's not a defender. He's definitely most likely of all the yellow-carded players to kind of pick up some kind of second booking. So I'm going to take him off and bring in Ajaria. Brennan, with his injury, is still kind of carrying that knock a little, but having scored, I'm going to have a hard time justifying taking him off. If we get a second goal, or maybe as the game goes on, I'll try and inject some fresh legs. Shaquille Van Persie's bringing it forward. Okay, that wasn't far wide. They've also just subbed him off and brought on Nico Williams. They got Nico Williams and Jeremy Doku out wide. They are fast players. To be honest, of all our attackers, Sheldon has really struggled this game. So I'm going to bring in Nicky Meredith to play as a pressing forward on the left-hand side. I'm looking at the centre-backs on the booking thinking, is there something I can do here? I'll tell you what, I think there is. Arian B is going to come in for Phillips. Henderson is going to move to right centre-back. Just a case of trying to get in some fresh legs. And MB, being a fresh player at left centre-back, will hopefully have the legs to deal with Nico Williams, who's just come on off the bench. Right, praise the players. We're a goal up. If we could get another, that would definitely help with my nerves. Mainoo, I mean, he's played in these last two games. We've not had to say his name very much. He's not been involved in the play. Maybe that changes here. Ajaria, Hatswell, lays it back to Dorrington, who's stepping up with the ball. Options left, options right. The centre-back. I don't know why he's decided to shoot there. I kind of rate it. It's a bit playground, isn't it, shooting from there? Fans shouted shoot. He's got carried away. We have now got a corner, though, that's going to be whipped in. And Bernard Brennan almost doubled his tally for this game. That header goes just over. They're switching to a more attacking 4-2-3-1 now, Arsenal. They've dropped in a centre attack in mid. But we are still the team having chances. I need that goal. We've got that goal. Breathe a sigh of relief. I'll tell you what. Don't mind a corner going in a game like this one. It helps just settle the nerves a little. We're going to beat the team who are top of the league. And after our recent run of form, it feels like it makes no sense. But you know what? That is football. Dorrington leaps like a salmon, stings like a bee. Arsenal, well, they're going home with absolutely nothing in this game. 4 minutes of added time to be played here. 2 minutes remain. The clock strikes 0, or rather it strikes 94, if we want to be pedantic. We've managed to win. Bernard Brennan, man of the match. Praise the players for that. Maybe that can kickstart the second half of the season. You can see in terms of what it does for us, it moves us within 9 points of Arsenal with a game in hand. Maybe we're not out the title fight just yet, but we have played a game more than both Tottenham and City ahead of us, and breathing down our necks are the likes of Liverpool and also Newcastle, both who have games in hand. Oh, and the good news continues to flow. Caleb Anson has signed a new deal that kicks in at the end of the year. It is a 5-year contract. This man is going to be our goalkeeper, I think, until the end of this save game now. Now, in terms of upcoming games, we've actually got 2 games in the Champions League where I can kind of rotate the team, and an FA Cup game where I'm more likely to play the full strength 11. In terms of when we're going to be back, it's probably going to be for either an FA Cup game or a Champions League game. Of course, we're not going to give up on the league title just yet and our aspirations of a top 5 finish. But, well, it is looking like a pretty tall order. And with our inconsistency, I think our season is just going to come down to trophies. It is perhaps worth noting we do still have £16 million in transfer budget and a wad of wage budget as well to use up if we so wish. In terms of the board expectations, I did actually up them at the start of the month to be a team that qualified for the Europa League. So we really need to do that. Nevertheless, you know what? As I leave things ahead of the weekend, I feel like we're in a pretty good spot here at Wanderers. I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Maybe there'll be some transfers coming your way that I can show you on Monday. I guess you'll have to come back to find out. I'll see you on the next one.